I was traveling, you know, traveling all over the world, at exhibitions and shit. I've paid off debt. I paid off all my loans. I'm debt free, you know. And the situation for me was that because I had loads of defaults and shit because of my loans and all that kind of stuff, I couldn't buy a house. I couldn't get a mortgage, um, because it stays on your record for 6 years or whatever it was. So I bought a shitload of watches instead. I thought, right, okay, I can't do anything with this. I can't put it anywhere safe. I can't invest it into a house because I can't buy a house cash right now. So I bought watches and put them away, and then basically it kind of turned into a thing where like, okay, like I keep making these characters, right, but I don't really want to saturate it. I don't want to overdo it where it's just like everyone's got one. There's going to be no secondary market left on this thing. Um, and then after that, because I had a career in music before that when I was 15, 16, I knew how to DJ. I didn't want to DJ like at the time, but I knew how to do it. And at a lot of these crypto events, NFT events, the problem is, right, that there's a lot of people networking and there's no real fun events. So you have basically one example would have been where, in Paris, but at one of the crypto events, someone booked Brodinski to play, and he's like a massive DJ, and like they didn't understand it. A lot of the people there didn't get it. Like a lot of the people are not in tune with culture and things going outside, outside of the world behind the computer. Like they don't get it. So they're booking all these DJs, right, and no one understood it. I'm just asking me, yo, how was it? I'm like, yeah, it was a bit too, techno that I don't understand what's going on. So the problem at a lot of these events is that there's a balance of well, no, I mean there's no balance of culture and people enjoying themselves. So at a lot of these parties, you have a lot of people just wearing backpacks, and they'll have a t-shirt on they've got free from the event earlier, and they're just networking. They don't know how to enjoy themselves. So what happened was basically, because I had a whole career in music, I turned into the DJ for a lot of these events. So because obviously I get what people like and what they don't like, I end up going to these events to have a show up, an art exhibition, but then I'd be DJing at the same party later on in the night. So I've done a few big shows, like on a, the craziest one was on a boat in Paris during summer. That was pretty sick. And then recently, I think it was last year, I've done Moulin Rouge in Paris.
Wow.
Me and one of my mates went back to back and done a set there, which was sick. But yeah, the thing, so back to what I was saying is basically everything's like full loop. Because I had the whole career in music, that's catching up to me now. Because I knew how to use Photoshop and stuff, I could sell NFTs. Like everything's full loop, and even the merch side of things. With the NFTs, I still do a little bit of merch that's crypto related or whatever it is. But because I know what the perfect t-shirt is to print on, because I had a whole brand, I kind of already know where to go to get a t-shirt printed and what the best quality, what the best printing method is. So everything I've done in the past is catching up to me now, and that's because I had 5 things going on at once, and now it's all tying together. Um, so yeah, so with all the with the first year in NFTs in 2021, like I said, just a lot of traveling, a lot of exhibitions, a lot of buying a lot of art, putting a lot of things on. There's one day I think it might have been last year or the year before, where I thought, you know what, like I'm bored. It's Valentine's Day. I'm gonna give out free flowers. I think I've done it on Valentine's Day or a couple of days before. Let me just give out free flowers to people.
Mate, I love that. That
Anyone who
was
any
class.
anyone who turns up to the shop, show this post and just collect flowers. Like there's no reason behind it. There's
Uh-huh.
no sort of 50% off. Just literally collect flowers, and they all
Uh-huh.
went within 4 minutes. And then done a free food one with my mate's food place, where I've just paid them and said, yo, anyone who rings the phone, just give them a free meal. Um, and then that whole year was just insane, man. Like it was basically a lot of traveling, buying art. I bought a shitload of art, and that
Mhm.
wasn't I didn't buy it to flip. I just bought it because I liked the art. And this was when the peak of NFTs, and then after that, I kind of thought, right, okay, there's quick money it's fun. It's nice doing all this, but I don't really want to oversaturate it. So I kind of took a step back and started working on the fuzzies, like the whole new collection I'm working on. That's been in the works for 2 years. So I kind of like stepped down a little bit and thought, right, okay, let me step away from the sculptures and stuff like that and just basically focus on this, which will like bring hopefully like thousands of people in, not just a couple hundred, just bring thousands of people in. And been working on that for the last 2 years, and basically the whole thing with that is like it's kind of like your NFTs, your entry in pictures, just it's a picture. The artwork's like crazy, but for me, it's not an art-based project. It's more based on like, okay, you've got one of these things. This gives you access to private events. If we ever make music, you get a cut out of it. If we ever get merch, you got exclusive. You know, you can exclusively buy it, and plush toys and all that. It's like a whole new market just by owning one of these things. And because I've been in space for so long, I understand that people are not just happy spending $200-300 on a picture. Like they need a lot more. Even with the sculptures thing, like for me, I wasn't happy to spend like making the sculptures, and people are spending what 2-3K on them. It's like, yo, this I can't be doing this. I wouldn't personally pay 2-3K on a picture that isn't going to do anything. If it's not going to make me money, or like I don't enjoy the art, I'm not going to buy it. So a lot of these NFT projects, what would happen is you'd buy the NFT. If you've not got a rare NFT, then it's worthless. It's worth nothing. If you have like, you could make a couple £100, a couple £1,000 in it, but after that, it's like it's not going to do anything for you. So for me, when I was making the Gambino thing, the sculptures, I basically thought, right, okay, if someone's spending this amount, I need to give them something they can hold in the hand. And I'd done the whole thing with the pictures, and then let people redeem a physical Gambino. And the minimum the price they were selling for was 500, well, about 450 to 500 minimum to about 15K. That's how much they were selling for. So if the NFT space ever does die, or just goes very quiet, at least people have got value for money from when they've bought my art. They've actually got something they can hold and say, shit, I've actually got a piece of art here.
Yeah.
Even if I'm spending 2-3K on something that's not going to make money, if I've bought something, like ideally I'd want the artist to send me a print or come and personally deliver the piece of art. Just because as much as I'm in the NFT space, I kind of have to be realistic about it as well, and just think, right, okay, like I'm not going to spend something on a picture that I don't really like, or I'm not going to make anything from, or it's not going to benefit me in any way. So I took all that away, and like I said, working on the fuzzies, working on this whole thing for the last 2 years, and we're probably going to drop in next month. But yeah, there's a lot of work involved in it. The main thing is just building a solid community. Right now, this present day is a lot harder to do than it would have been 2 years ago, because people are more careful about just buying anything, just for the sake of buying an NFT. They're not doing that anymore. But yeah, like even the new stuff I've been working on, it's just me being bored. The AI stuff, I'm just bored. There's no reason behind it. I'm just trying new things, and they're working. But there's no purpose of me doing this. I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm just literally doing it because I'm bored at 2-3 a.m. on the laptop, and just making stuff. That's experimental.
That's so sick. So that's one thing that I wondered with seeing this AI work is that a new project? What's coming from that? Is it something that you're going to sell in the future? Or,
yeah,
like you say, was that just completely boredom, or do you have an idea for it going forward?
I think an idea going forward would be incorporating it somewhere with the Fuzzies characters, or actually, using it where I'm potentially making music videos with AI, but with the characters in them. But right now I'm just making stuff I'm imagining just for fun, and it's working. Like there's no actual, I might do a few prints if the demand's there, but that isn't for me to make money from. It's just because, right, okay, it looks sick. Like, do you want a print? That's the main reason.
Yeah, 100%. And I just wanted to come back on the Gambino. So why that character in the first place? What led you to design him that way, make him look that way? What was the...
I think when I was younger, like, well, let's say about 17, 18, I was into a lot of, Japanese collectibles. I was into Bear Bricks, Bape, Astro Boy, all this stuff, right? But I'd never, I wouldn't think to buy one. And thought, right, okay, this character here, like, it's a likable character. People think it's scary. People think it's strange. Um, Even the eyes, when you look at the eyes on this character, one's purposely bent. It's not cross-eyed. It's just a little bit off on purpose, and that's the whole reason of imperfections. Like, and with the two teeth, the gap in the middle, and it's just a character people have a lot of different opinions on. People think it's scary, strange, a lot of different things, and that's what I like seeing. I like people, having a different opinion on it, because it's like a thing which is like because the base model's made now, like changing colors and stuff. It's just there's just unlimited options with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all inspired by basically Japanese collectibles, streetwear, bathing ape, cores, that kind of stuff, bear brick. It's all inspired by that kind of field. And for me, like, the other thing I noticed was, since bear brick and the cores figurines, some super plastic stuff, there's not been anything that's came out that's really popped off since then. I just think, yeah, there is a shitload of collectibles out there, Funko Pops as well, but realistically, who's ever done anything from Manchester that's collectibles that's really took off? And for me, I feel like there was a gap in the market, but I also enjoy making them. Anyone can set up a brand these days. It's not hard. Like, it's everything so accessible. And I just thought, right, okay, I made the picture, and like, I made the actual 3D model, so let's see if we can turn it into something. And at first, that wasn't even the plan. Like, the plan was just keeping these guys as pictures. The figurine stuff came after, when I knew it was possible to do. That's when it all happened. Like, the original plan was never to make actual figurines out of these things, and it just ended up happening.
And what was the transition from that then to the fuzzies?
So the fuzzies characters, like, for me, like, so with the collectibles, the physical collectibles, I wanted to keep them very exclusive. I only do like 200-300 of them. I never wanted to do like a mass thing, because it just would have been impossible to manage it all and just look after it, because it takes a while to do. Like, they're all coming from China and stuff like that, and just quality checking, it's just a long process. And for me, I want to keep it very exclusive. And I thought, right, okay, I need to work on a project that's going to bring thousands of people in. I thought, right, okay, this could work, because later on down the line, people will have the option to redeem the physicals, the plush toys. They'll have the option of doing that. So it's not like you definitely guaranteed one. It's like, it's going to be something where basically they've got the NFT, and they're going to have an option whether they want to burn the NFT, get rid of it, redeem that for a physical, or hold on to it and have access to all these other things and not get physical.
Right. Okay.
So
That's
yeah, it's like a thing where they get to choose and think, right, what's more, what do I want here? Do I want to go to events and parties, or do I just want the physical? Do I want IP rights to music, or just the physical? That's it. So they need to decide. I think that'll be later on down the line, though. But yeah, I'm gonna give people a choice.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And what decision would you make?
Honestly, I'd keep the actual NFT, because I know what will come from it. For me, like, the whole thing with the NFT side of things is like, this is your entry ticket, right? If I, let's say, tweet something, the price of that NFT could shoot up, just because I've announced, oh, we've got a collaboration with, this brand, and it could go crazy, right? And the other thing is, I can control, Fuzzies as a company, we can control basically how valuable it could be. Like, think, okay, you've got the NFT, this is your entry ticket to an event we're putting on with this artist, you've got free entry, you've got an open bar, whatever it is. So yeah, like, I'd hold on to the NFT, because people think the NFTs are just JPEGs. They're not. They're literally your entry to a lot of things. It's like a ticket to an event. So yeah, like, I'd definitely hold on to the NFTs. Yeah,
That's sick. And that's such a sick idea. I've never heard. Obviously, I've heard a lot about NFTs now, and speaking to different people, but I've never heard of it having that reward system and it can take you to places. And I think that's such a cool concept that is genius. Like I've never heard of that being done before. And also with the physical as well, because I always figured that people were selling NFTs and it was almost a battle against the physical
Yeah,
of having
yeah.
stuff online. But to have the option and the choice, I guess, is so cool. But do you think that's something that could maybe be frowned upon in the NFT community, or is it something that other people are doing, or how does it sit?
I think giving people an option, um, giving people an option is the best way because they don't have to do it. You know, they've got choice to get the physical, but they don't. You know, no one's asking them to do it. And another example would be like recently, um, one of my friends dropped a book, and the whole thing was with this book, like, because the NFT space is very anonymous and no one, you know, it's like a lot of collectors don't want to be seen, they don't want to be heard. He's very connected to a lot of these collectors and, you know, a lot of these big events and meals and whatever. So his whole thing was he started an NFT book called Who Anonymous, Who Anon basically, and he's just been documenting the whole scene for the last 2 years, just taking pictures at events and stuff, and he's everywhere doing it. And with the first edition of the book, I bought a book, and like loads of people done it, and the whole thing was with the book, you get to redeem physical book. I've not redeemed mine yet, and it's gone up in value.
Wow, okay.
So yeah, like you can redeem the actual book, and it's a good quality book with pictures in, and you know, just documenting the whole scene. And I've not redeemed it, and it's gone up in value. I will redeem it at some point, but this is what I mean, like holding on to things because there's less of them now. People want it more. But yeah, back to the physical side of things. I think I don't know, you know, it's one of them things where, let's say you started off as an artist doing physical canvases before the NFT space, then um, I wouldn't advise anyone to stop doing that. I'd say carry on doing that, but link it to your NFT in a way. So if someone's buying an NFT, give them the free print or the original painting with it, or list that as an NFT. Just scan it in somewhere and just list that whole thing as an NFT. Um, so I get there's a battle between, like, you know, the whole thing with NFTs is to not have physicals and stuff like that, but maybe 2 years ago that would have been a stronger argument. But now I feel like, you know, people are very careful about what they buy in. They are, you know, they want more value for money. So for me, personally, for me, this is the whole reason why I've done physicals.
Yeah, yeah, sick. I love that. And then obviously we were speaking about an exhibition down the line and using the space. So I kind of wanted to get a bit more of an understanding of what you want to showcase, how you want to move that, and sort of I know we said like there's about a month
Yeah.
period where it's going to be, but how long you think it's going to be until we do that, and just discuss that a little bit.
So with the space itself, like I feel like it's a perfect space to put something on that will represent my work, just because the white walls, you know, the lighting coming in, and the fact I can just I've got an area to do whatever I want, right? So with something that would be putting on about a month, we can, you know, ideally what I want to do is showcase my different styles of art. So for example, I've got the sculpture which Movi made. One of the guys I work with, he makes all the big sculptures. Have that up so people actually get to see the quality and stuff from in person, you know, appreciate this thing at 4 foot. And then prints of obviously the fuzzies collection and the random possibilities it generates. So back to the fuzzies, the way it works is basically I can literally press a button and it'll spit out hundreds of thousands of random images of, you know, different accessories, rare accessories, or a rare t-shirt, rare skin color, whatever it is. And I just want to showcase that and have like 16 random ones on the wall. And even if they're printed, you can still see how insane the quality is. Like you can see the texture on the shirt, you can see the hair, everything's like super clean. And then obviously the AI stuff I'm working on, I want people to see that on a wider scale and see how insane the quality is just by, you know, me making these things by typing in a few words.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also an area where people can, you know, have a sort of an interactive space where they can, you know, an immersive experience where they can basically take pictures and they have more. It's more stimulating just looking at art on the wall.
Yeah.
right? I want something going on where maybe it's an infinity room full of sounds and basically an experience where they, get to step into Fuzztown, for example. Whole experience of what Fuzztown would be like in a real world. And also have the sculptures on that I've made before in the past, the bust, the Gumbino bust, so people can see this quality in real life and see what it's like.
I also wanted to ask you, because I saw this on your Instagram, was the miniature version of yourself.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that,
So
because that was sick.
I got that in New York, man. I got that in Soho. I don't know if were you in Soho in New York?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I stayed
So,
there actually.
yeah, so there's a shop in New York, right, where you basically step into this room and it's called Doppel. So you step in this room, it's got like 400 cameras in there, and it takes a picture of you, and like you get it in a month. You get the miniature version of yourself in a month.
That's so
It's
sick.
mad. Yeah, it's sick. Like the setup was insane. Someone needs to do that here.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
make fucking millions off it.
Yeah, that'd
Someone
be
literally needs to set it up here. Just get somehow funding for about 400 cameras, 3D printer, and just get it up here. And yeah, it's insane.
it's such a cool concept and stuff. Yeah, bro. So if it's cool with you, I just want to touch back on something we spoke about at the start, because I know you were saying about like the debt situation,
Yeah.
and it's something that I've found myself in the same situation where mine came from investing in the clothing heavily, and then taking the wrong risks, the wrong manufacturers, and so again I found myself, and it was 30 grand, so a similar amount of you. So before the camera wasn't rolling when I did it. So I just want to talk about that again, and just maybe you go over the 30 grand situation,
Yeah.
because that's really interesting
Yeah.
and inspiring for people too.
Yeah. So yeah, basically I got into a shitload of debt, a personal situation where I ended up in about 30-40k debt, where because my credit rating was so low at the time of me getting out a loan, I think the whole thing started when I was like a month short for paying something off, and I couldn't afford to do it, so I took out a loan, and then because I took out that loan, it just spiraled out of control, and I end up in a situation where I've got loads of loans going on, like from all sorts of fucking companies, which the APR is like insane, and it's just not stopping. So money's going out every month that's I can't afford, and I'm borrowing off people. So like, well, off two people. So I'm borrowing and like covering that month, and then it's happening again. It's just constantly going on. So everything I'm making from work is basically going towards loans. So by the time I get paid by 12 o'clock, 12:01, everything's gone out to whatever companies it needs to go to. And then, yeah, I just found there's literally no way out of it. Like, I physically couldn't get out of it. Like, it got that bad. I was on Reddit forums. Like, I couldn't get any more loans out from any. I was on Reddit forums asking for payday loans. And,
Wow.
like, that's how bad the situation got. And, like, it was going on for a good 3 years. Like, I literally couldn't do anything. I couldn't go out for a friend's meal. I didn't really want to ask anyone because I know no one's got that type of amount of money. Even if, like I said, someone gave me 10 grand and said, right, this will help with the situation, it wouldn't, because by the time it would have gone to the end of the month, the interest would have gone back to where it was. So, yeah, that situation was going on for about 3 years. And, yeah, like, I couldn't find any way out of it. And, like I said, for me, because I had 5 different things going on at once, I always had this thing in my head where one of these is going to make money from. Like, I'm going to make money from one of these things. And yeah, so everything I do for work would go towards loans, and that was going on for 3 years, where I just probably didn't see a penny of what I'm worth at my 9-to-5 job. And then when COVID happened on the Saturdays, anything I'd make from the bubble tea thing would be my money for the week. And like I said, like, NFTs just changed everything. Not everyone's going to be in the situation where NFTs are going to change everything, but I feel like I made the most of my time in a day. Doing, I was up 18, 19 hours just doing what I need to do at work, and then doing anything else after that, and just doing that every single day for a whole, 3 years. And yeah, this whole thing started, and just everything got repaid off, and whatever.
And how long did it take from the moment that you started selling NFTs to actually clear that debt? Like, how long was that?
Oh, it would have been
process?
about max 6 months. Stuff
Mad.
like that. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't have been 6 months. It would have been overnight, because for the first 3 4 months I was making £300 400 a week off just pictures. And then when Gumbo happened, that's when everything changed. Because I remember the day when I checked my my wallet, I made 20k off like resales and shit. And then that same night, I made another 20k. My first thing wasn't to pay off my loans, but I could have paid it off the next day. I could have paid everything off that next day. But for me, I feel like I'm not saying I always knew it was going to happen. I feel like I worked hard enough for something to happen. Like I said, I had 5 different things going on at the same time: the bubble tea thing, the clothing thing, actual work, manufacturing for a lot of takeaways and shit because I had the machine, and the music thing because I had all these things like transitioning from each other. Like at the same time, there's a crossover period. Like there was periods where I was doing like 5 different things in a day, and I feel like because I've done all that work for the last 3 years, like this is the reward. I feel like it was a test I was put through, and now this is the reward. And yeah, it everything just changed overnight. If we're talking that specific day.
Yeah. I think one thing that I would take from it, from my own experiences, is the isolation as well. When you're saying you can't physically afford to go out and do things, and you're just left alone with your thoughts and this stress of what's over you, it fine tunes what you're going to do, and you can't make mistakes. You can't make any more mistakes going forward. You know that you have to fine tune your art. And I think it's almost that people say the insanity of it and the insanity of the creative process, but it just pushes you it just drives you like nothing else does. I think that stress just drives you. And yeah, if you can get through that and just keep focused on the task at hand and what it is that you're going to do, the power of that is massive, isn't it? And how far forward it can propel you is just insane.
Yeah, it's insane because when I was in debt, like there was like couple months where there was a payment which was due, and my options were exhausted. Right, so anything's coming in, whatever's coming in from salary, like that's going towards paying off most of it. But there might be like £200 300 which wasn't going to get covered, and like for me, it's a bit mad this because like for me, I knew it's going out on this day and it's not going to get covered. What do I do in this situation? So my brain would go into like fucking panic mode, like survival mode, right? And I'd be sat in maybe a shisha cafe on my own laptop and on the laptop and just work out, right, some way or another I need to find a way to make this extra bit of money here so I can make that payment. And somehow, whatever way it would be, it would work and the payment would get made. But whatever way it would be, like them last couple of hours or the day before, that would be like fucking survival mode, right? Like that would be like, right, I'm getting on that laptop and finding a way to make money from it today. Somehow, and this was before the NFT stuff, like this was way before it. I'm just like, right, okay, I like it's going out tomorrow. I know it's not going to get paid. I need to find a way, whatever way it would be, to get that payment in. And I'd always make it work somehow, whatever way it would be. It'd always get paid.
And I think there's a lot of people who will probably be watching this and people who have been in this situation or are in this situation. What advice do you give to those people who are like struggling to just make the payments and stuff? What would you say to them?
Honestly, what I'd say is like, I'm not saying I'm not promoting people not sleeping or just overworking themselves, but if you are working a full-time job or whatever it is, if you're not doing anything creative that's making you money, or find another job. Like just find a way to get through that period where you need to struggle a little bit for however many years it might be, just to get it out of the way and then start off. Like if you're doing something creative, what I would say is don't spend money on shit. Just whatever you've got in your house already, you're doing creative things, just use that to make whatever you need to do and sell it. Or not even that, just get mock-ups of shit made. If you've got a brand, don't get the t-shirt made, just get mock-ups, put them online, sell the mock-ups. Once the order's in, go get whatever it is made, and then that way you're not spending anything on stuff you're going to be sat on. So yeah, I'd say basically minimize cost even if you're trying to sell something, and just basically focus on what you've got. Like when I was making music, like I used to use the wired AirPod headphones in the computer, or I had like I don't know if you remember a company called Tiny PC. Like it was a really old company. I think they made these computers, and the speakers I had were like 30 years old, 30-year-old speakers. Like they were really shit speakers. And the way I'd make music is I'd use the windows as like to check EQ and levels and stuff. So if I've got my hand on the window and like if I can hear if I can feel the kick drum against the glass on the window, I know there's enough bass on it, and and yeah, like that's the way. I've never had a high quality setup. I've never needed to be in a studio. I don't see the need of a lot of stuff. Even with the laptop, like I've got a good laptop now, but when I started doing 3D stuff, I always had to have the MacBook plugged in on top of a like a bag of frozen peas because the laptop would get really hot when you're running Blender. It gets really hot and the battery dies. So I'd either have it on like a bag of peas, and when it gets hot, put it back in the freezer or whatever, or just like ice. I just have on a bag of ice. I just find the way to make it work. But yeah, I've never had a high quality setup, and I don't see the reason for it. Like, imagine you've got like a 20k setup and you still can't make shit that's good. I'm not saying people making shit stuff, but you're not using it to its advantage, or you just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like anytime I've needed to upgrade anything in terms of equipment and stuff, I've only needed it for efficiency.
Yeah.
For stuff to run faster, not to change the way I'm working or what I'm creating. It's just things to run faster. And that's the first thing I bought when I done well from the NFT space. The first thing I bought was a new phone and a laptop.
Sick.
I never went out just spending money for the sake of it or whatever. And they were the first two things I bought. Just got rid of the laptop and just focused. But yeah, back to the question, I'd say like people just need to if you're in a situation where you are in it and there's no way out, like, just find. I'm not saying people should make money just find a way to make money, whether it's legal or illegal, whatever it is. Just, find a way to get out of that situation, even if it means you're working 18 hours a day. Like, you need to understand it's a short period of time. And for me, mine was I had 5 different things going on in a day for 3 years, so that's the reason why stuff's worked. I always knew out of them 5 things something will work, and work for me was one of the things where, I don't enjoy work. I don't think much of it. Like, I don't really care. I don't want to be asking someone for a holiday when I don't enjoy my job. Like, people when they get to a certain age and they've got a family and stuff like that, it's security. Like, they feel like they don't have a way out, and they treat it as though work is like they have to commit to this job now because security. They've got a family. It's too risky to try new things and be out of employment. And I just used to look around and think, right, okay, everyone I'm working with right now is probably is a lot older than me. They've got kids, or they're married, or they've got a house. They kind of don't have a choice now.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice to get out. They can't afford to take a risk. And for me, like, I don't really want to be in a situation where I am, 50 years old and I'm still working at a job I don't really want to do, because I would never put in effort into something I don't see me reaching my targets or going the extra mile for something that I don't really care about. I would never do it.
I find it so interesting because I'm in a position at the minute with obviously opening this space and predominantly I'm a photographer, so doing the shoots and stuff. I work so hard.
Yeah.
And no one can take that away from me. I work hard, but it almost doesn't feel like I'm working because I come here, I open up this space, which is what I've dreamed of for a long time, and it's amazing. And it's mad because I feel like when you are doing the thing that you love, it becomes beyond a job. It's just it's everything. You like eat, sleep. You know what I mean? It's what you do, and it's a crazy thing. I almost sometimes feel guilty, like I'm not working because it's just something that I love. It's really crazy, and I think that's what people don't understand is you can make money from the stuff that you love, and you don't have to have that.
I just think people don't understand that there needs to be a transition period. That's another thing which I see a lot of people doing. Like they'll make a impulsive decision where they've quit everything and just gone full in onto what they love. But the problem, the issue with that is, right, that if you're not making a little bit of money from it, don't do it. If you don't need to do it, don't do it. If you can still go work and do whatever you need to do later on in the evening, even though you might be a little bit tired, just do that. Like, don't quit and go full in if you kind of have a feeling it's not going to make me money from the start, because you're going to be in a situation where you're not going to enjoy what you're doing because you're waiting on the money to come in. So kind of like have a bit of a transition period where, okay, I've gone to work, you know, in the evening I've done what I needed to do, I've made a bit of money, and like I've gone part-time at work, and then I've eventually quit. A lot of people go full into what they love doing, but and hope for the money to come in, and they're gonna make, you know, this is gonna be the bread and butter, but they don't understand that for me there needed to be a transition period. Um, so I'd say just don't quit straight away. Just have a transitional period where you're doing something that's making you money and you're doing what you love, and then when there's a balance point of the two, that's when you make the decision and just go full in.
And another thing I want to say is always like, what did you do this for?
How do you mean?
So obviously you love to create, but do you have like a long-term goal of like, I want to be here, or I want to have done this, or is there a reason that you do what you do?
So with the music side of things, like I said, when I first started, I didn't know how it works with money and music. I didn't get how royalties work. I didn't understand any of it. You know, I just done it because I had the tools to do it, and I love listening to that kind of music at the time. So I kind of done it because I love doing it, but at the same time, it's because I had the tools to do it. And with the art side of things, right now, currently, the whole plan is the vision right now would be the physical side of things with the sculptures, Gambino and stuff like that. That will do its own thing, you know, potentially pop-up stores where people can buy the figurines, right? That's going to be its own thing. And then the thing I want to be running full time would be Fuzzies as a whole business, you know. So we've got the entertainment side of things, the music side of things, the actual community, putting on events, and that would be the business. So people have bought the NFT and they've got access to all these things. It's almost like running, you know, let's say a, I don't know what could, let's say a gaming company or like a popular game or whatever it is. It's like I want to run it in a way where I've got loads of employees and stuff, and you know we've got collaborations coming up, we've got music coming out, like a whole multimedia industry kind of thing. We're just tapping into everything.
Yeah, sick. I love that.
So that's what I want to be doing full time for the next however long it would be. Like I'm not someone who's gonna put out a project and just give up on it,
Yeah,
because everything I've ever done in the past is coming together. Like there's one point where I bought a because I was doing bubble tea on Saturdays, I bought a bubble tea page that had like 9k followers on it. I got it up to like 11k, and the whole thing was I was promoting my bubble tea through the page I bought, but the music on the reels would be my music as well.
sick.
So it'd be like a full loop, and on top of that, I'd done a collaboration with myself. So I had a brand at the time called Phantom World. So I'd done Phantom World and A1T collaboration, but no one knew I'm behind every single four of these accounts there. And like the reels would be my music, the t-shirt itself would be what I'm making myself, the collaboration would be the bubble tea business I'm running. So everything would be full circle coming straight back to me.
Sick.
So yeah, like this is the benefit of me doing all these things in the past. I can use everything to its advantage now. All of it ties together.
Yeah, I love that. And I want to ask as well, this is a bit of a random and maybe a personal question, but in terms of faith,
Yeah.
this is something that I find myself questioning a lot, and with different people who have very different beliefs and see things in different ways. Do you have a faith? Do you believe in a higher power, or what's your...
Yeah, so I'm Muslim. So I'd like to be a bit more religious and pray more, to be honest. like I said, going back to the thing where I said it's a test, like for 3 years, I feel like I was put through hell with the whole debt situation, and you know, I kind of went through that, and the reward literally happened. Like, you know, within overnight, everything was fine. So I should pray more. I do feel like I need to pray more. Like I feel like everything happened for that reason. Um, so yeah, I do believe things happen for a reason, and you know, I should be a bit more grateful. Yeah.
Well, I just want to finish by saying I think what you're doing is amazing. We met at a party in this space
Yeah.
a while back, and you're one of those people that you just see and you ooze creativity without even having to say anything. And I think what you're doing is inspiring.
Thank you, bro.
And it's been a pleasure to have you. Honestly, I really
Nice
appreciate
one,
it.
man. Thank you for having me.